The faithful talks Trey Lance. That's what we're doing on today's San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. I just want to take your questions, take your super chats, also go through some of your evaluations, some of your comments on Trey Lance after what was an up-and-down performance from him in Sunday's preseason opener against the Las Vegas Raiders. And I want to do this because obviously he's important to the success of this franchise. San Francisco drafted him number 3 overall. The yield on investment hasn't been there. Some people are concerned that he's going to be a bust, or they're worried that he needs all of this experience. He's not going to get it with this team, and what does that mean for his future? So we're uncovering everything, and we're allowing the fan base to really steal the show here because that's what we do here on the channel, because we always appreciate what you have to say. Big Hurt sent us in a $100 super chat during our live show. Hall of Fame, baby. He's now in our Goldmine Hall of Fame. Anybody who sends us $100 or more, you enter the Goldmine Hall of Fame. You can do that if you're watching this after the fact with a super thanks as well. It's the heart icon with the $ through it. If Trey Lance does not secure the number 2 quarterback spot, let's just cut our losses and trade him for anything that we can get. No need to have that cap hit for a number 3 quarterback, and my Lance jersey can go in the what might have been pile in the back of my closet. So I see where you're coming from with Lance. Look, he's in year 3. The Niners have a very big decision to make after this year about whether or not to exercise his 5th-year option. If they exercise his 5th-year option, that means that Lance is under team control for the next 2 years, for 2024 and for 2025. But with that comes a massive investment, and I doubt that they make that investment in a player if Brock Purdy plays well this year, or if they want to go after a Kirk Cousins, or if they really fall in love with Sam Darnold. They're not going to be able to afford to really wait this out in a Steve Young type of trajectory where he bloomed later on in his football life. There is a little bit of pressure to find out what he is right now because of the future investment at play, but also you have a Super Bowl contending roster right now. And for Lance, if you're paying for him to be the number 3 quarterback with the cap at the next 2 years of $9+ million, from a team-building standpoint, when you're paying a lot of big money to other players, and a Brandon Ayuk contract extension could be coming up next year, as well as a Talanoa Hufanga, you need to improve this offensive line in the future. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And if he doesn't work out for San Francisco, Big Hurt, you're right. What may have been? What would have happened if the Niners just rode with him year 1 and dealt with some of the inevitable challenges that would have come with him being an inexperienced player? We might not ever know, and that's why this is so fascinating. Victor with the $5 donation, thank you so much. I've always said that Lance was Blake Bortles 2.0. We definitely wasted that pick. We should have gone for Fields instead. Trade him away while he has some value. So, look, I understand that Justin Fields was a member of this draft class, and the Niners wouldn't have had to trade up for Justin Fields. They could have stayed put. They wouldn't have had to trade away 3 picks to take him. But even Justin Fields has some really big question marks. Justin Fields was 31st in completion percentage last year, and he has really struggled at moments his first 2 years. Now, he has not had the same offensive line help that the Niners have had over the last 2 years. He hasn't had anywhere close to the same amount of weapons that San Francisco has had. But Justin Fields took sacks last year at a historic rate, despite having a lot of time to throw the football. His accuracy is an issue where Justin Fields completed 60% of his passes last year and was 31st in completion percentage. So Blake Bortles 2.0, we'll see, but Blake Bortles did play well for a year. That's why he got the bag. Oh, Buddy Bear, a $100 super chat. Bang, bang, Niner gang. And how about this? Can a Raider fan get on your Hall of Fame? I missed the game on Sunday. Looking forward to the Giants game in the regular season. Marsh was talking smack on Raider fans yesterday, so I hope we destroy the Giants. Good luck with your season. I was a Jerry Rice fan as a kid. Wow. Lord Buddy Bear, thank you so much for that. I'm going to react further to it once I get out of this cut because we're live right now. Lord Buddy Bear, really appreciate you, brother. Much love. John Wallace with the $10 super chat. 10 years ago, I was working, my brother, living in a van on crack cocaine, but God kept me to save me for better things, to help others. Trey needs a fresh start, somewhere that can take time. Steve. So, John Wallace, that's an incredible story, and for those of you who don't understand the context there, we, on our live show, talked about this report from Albert Breer. He talked to some people in the building in Santa Clara, and some people believe that Brock Purdy can be Kyle Shanahan's guy for the next decade. So I posed the question, what was everybody doing 10 years ago? Just because it's interesting to see where people are coming from. And how about John Wallace's story here? Everybody type JW down in the comment section because he's overcome some adversity and he's become a great guy and he's become a valuable member of the faithful family here at Chat Sports. So glad that God kept you around and you had that will to succeed in life. As for Trey, he needs a fresh start. He might need a fresh start. And somewhere where he can go, where he can get a lot more playing time to work out some of the kinks that come with him not playing a lot of football. He has thrown just over 100 passes going into year 3 in the NFL. Going back to his entire career at North Dakota State, he's barely thrown more than 400 passes in a live setting. And now, Niners, Super Bowl ready roster, the difference between him and Purdy, you might say, well, Brock Purdy's going into year 2. He also played a lot at Iowa State. That's the difference there. So with that, we toss up our poll question for today's show. Will Lance ever get a chance with the San Francisco 49ers? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Let me know down below in the comment section here and let us know what you think about Lance's future in the Bay. Draco Pimpin, another one of our real ones. I feel like Trey has never gotten the support, the help, or the love that he should have, and I hope if he does get traded, he becomes a top 10 quarterback. If Lance leaves the Bay, I'll be rooting for him. And while this is a conversation, right? It's so loaded. Multiple things can be true. He was a little bit too raw and maybe too inexperienced than what the Niners had anticipated. Maybe he didn't have as much athleticism as the Niners hoped. Maybe he wasn't the player that the Niners envisioned him being. That's on San Francisco for getting that evaluation wrong, taking him at number 3, passing on a Mac Jones or a Justin Fields, and trading away the picks to get him. That's on San Francisco. At the same time, yeah, you're right. Like, he might not be the player that the Niners thought he was going to be, but he may have not gotten the support that he needed mentally, confidence-wise, to fully unlock himself as an individual player and as an athlete. I will say, San Francisco, they did give him an opportunity to start last year, and he got hurt in week 2. Broken ankle, out for the rest of the year. Unfortunately, that's the harsh reality of the NFL. But after this past season, John Lynch was asked, are you going to trade Trey Lance? He didn't completely shut it down. What does that do for a young player? Doesn't instill a lot of confidence. And in that regard, it's not like San Francisco has done a lot to give him a lot of confidence, which is clearly what he needs right now because I think he's suffering from a lack of it. I3, how are we comparing Purdy with the starters to Lance and the backups? Can we see Purdy behind the backup offensive line and no skill players in the preseason? I see what you're saying. And Kyle Shanahan did speak with the media on Monday, and he was asked about the sacks that Trey Lance took. And he said, some were on him, some were on the offensive line. I went back and I watched the film, and anytime somebody watches film, they can disagree. The first 2 sacks for Lance, I thought were on him. And the third one, he had to read a shot right down the center of the field. He didn't take it. It was actually on an out route toward the sideline. He could have thrown that ball there. That was NFL open. The first 2 sacks, this is what I saw. First play of the game, 3-step drop. He's looking at Chris Conley. And before Chris Conley comes out of his break, you have an opportunity to throw that ball before the DB crashes on that play. Now, Trey Lance looked at Chris Conley. He saw him. He didn't pull the trigger. And on a play that is designed to have a 3-step drop, the offensive line is not built to protect for more than 3-4 seconds because it's a 3-step drop. So the offensive line doesn't want to step on Trey Lance. They can't hold up in protection all that long. It's up to the quarterback to get rid of it. The second sack was 2 plays later from that first play. It was a third down in which Lance looked at Ross Dwelley. He was in between 2 DBs. He could have thrown that ball in there right at the sticks. Instead, he double clutched. Chris Conley also went up the sideline. Lance could have dropped that ball in there potentially. That's another read. So that's an example of where Lance could have made a throw. He didn't. He was indecisive, didn't pull the trigger, and because of that, the protection broke down because of the design of the play. That's not on the offensive line necessarily. That's on the quarterback because the play is designed for him to get the ball out quickly. It's a loaded conversation. Purdy does a better job of getting the ball out quickly and is more decisive as compared to Lance being indecisive. Loaded conversation. Wanted to break that down for you. Ernesto, if Lance is traded, which team do you think would pick him up? There are really 2 teams right now who have big quarterback questions. Atlanta Falcons with Desmond Ridder and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask. Those are the 2 teams that come to mind. A team in the future that could make sense is the Minnesota Vikings. Lance is from Minnesota. They didn't extend Kirk Cousins this offseason. A lot of traction, a lot of buzz behind Kirk Cousins maybe coming to the Niners next year if Brock Purdy doesn't work out because of his relationship with Kyle Shanahan. There, he'd be able to go to Minnesota, take some time to develop, and then next year become the guy once Kirk Cousins does depart. Can Lance ever turn into a top-tier quarterback? We're going to round out the show with this question. Type E for you think he's going to be elite, A for average, B for bad, faithful. Thanks for chiming in, being a part of the show. Chime in. Let us know what you think down below in the comment section right now.